So we just continue our chat, Tom, where we just left off. We're going to talk now about your XS650. Can you tell me how, after the bike burned, and you heard it was burnt down, what was the motivation for then rebuilding this one? And how did that process start?
A fellow we knew died in Ararat, and we knew his widow, and she had a shed full of XS1s, those, and a couple of XS2s, and she had a clearing sale, and I bought one at the clearing sale, and a cobbler of mine bought another two. He's at Lismore, and he always admires that one, and Tim organised most of the work on that, didn't you?
Yeah, this one here.
Yeah.
So my memory of it is kind of the same. Dad had an engine, just an old engine, one of those sitting on the floor. He had it for a number of years, and this bike has never really been out of the conversation since 1973. It's always been about, that was as much fun as he ever had in racing, was riding that old thing. And so, so it sat around for a few years, and I thought, oh, we might get onto that, but then this frame turned up that came from the clearing sale, and I looked at it and I thought, oh right, so he's serious about it. And, so we sort of sat down and put our heads together, didn't we, and decided we were going to get into it and recreate the thing.
So what year was that you made the decision to recreate it?
2017, and we started in 2018. Yep.
And so what was the agreement? Did you have a bit of a plan for who was doing what on the bike?
Yeah. I said to him one day, I've got a clear vision of how I want this thing to look. So
I said, so do I.
Yeah, so that's where that started. But really, how it panned out was beautiful. Really, I'd come up when I could from Geelong to Ballarat, and we'd fly into it for a day, just flat out, and then I'd go home and I'd leave him a list of things to continue, which the last list is on the and I'd come back in a couple of weeks and it'd all be done, and some more would be done, and there'd be stuff, and I'd look at it and think, shit, I wouldn't have done it like that. But then I'd look at it again and I think, well, it's probably better than how I would have done it, so I'm just going to leave it. It was a great process. Yeah.
So Tom, how did you feel when you were rebuilding and recreating this bike?
It was like a blast from the past. We had all the similar stuff, and Tim found that tank somewhere, which is an absolute replica, absolute. Graham Osborne sent that seat.
Yep.
Poor old Graham's died lately, so he sent us that seat, just sent it, didn't charge us or anything.
Maybe he was as thrilled as you guys were to be recreating this bike.
Yeah. I spoke to him at a meeting, at a race meeting somewhere. He said, "Did you get that seat?" Yeah. I said, "It's sitting on the bike." Good. And we made the pipes. They're megaphones with a silencer on the end.
So a lot of it's just all second-hand stuff that we've refurbished with a few new bits and pieces as well. New carbies, new shockers, and stuff you need that you couldn't sort of redo. Pop re-spoked all the wheels himself. We changed the rear suspension. We discussed what we thought we needed to do. I went away, come back, and it's all done. And I thought, well, I don't think I could have done that. And he was 83. It was amazing. The original engine ended up being junk. So then, and we were a fair way down the process then. So we had to source another engine, which through one of Dad's mates at Colac, Les. We got one that had been reassembled and engineered by Carl Morlang, he's another legendary figure who's no longer with us. So a lot of it we were really lucky to get. And as Dad was saying, the styling cues, the tank and the seat and the fairing's a little different, but most of the rest of it is pretty much as the old bike was. Colours.
Yeah.
At that first meeting, the fellow with the Carter Triumph came up and said to me, "Is that the original bike?" And I said to him, "What, you remember the original bike?" And we went on from there. So we tried hard over the 2 years to really recreate the spirit of what it was, capture the essence of what was happening in those days, because he's got lots of stories that he hasn't told you yet. That
we wanted to put pratt&osborne on it as well, because that's gone, it's now an office.
So what were some of the biggest challenges in, you said the original engine was pretty crappy and you had to source another engine.
Yep.
Did you sort of feel like this engine fell into your lap a little bit?
Yeah, for sure.
So it was meant to be?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Two blokes from Colac, Rod Menzies had the engine, and he's a long time racer. He'd never stick at anything though.
It's going on the internet, Pop.
Eh?
It's going on the internet.
It's all right.
But Les Bowen got it off him and put it here. Here, stick this in. Well, that spurred us on, I can tell you. And it was built up on
On this workbench.
there.
It looks remarkably like a workbench I've got. So what was the most difficult thing about rebuilding it? So you relaced the wheels and everything, Tom?
Really, nothing was difficult.
So it just flowed?
It just flowed. It took time.
It took time.
And I'd have to drive up and back from Geelong, and so,
and approve of the work that had been done.
and then set new tasks. But as Pop said, it was not a hard thing to do. It just took time, and also because we wanted it to look just like so. Probably the hardest bit was the last month. I'd entered it for the first race meeting, and it wasn't finished yet. So the last month was just pretty crazy, getting it painted, getting it signed, written, because I wanted it right, getting it log booked.
It's always those last minute things sometimes, isn't it?
But we got there. And as Pop will tell you, I got to race it, but he got to ride it. So he did his
two laps.
This is the bit I want to hear.
I did 2 laps at Mac Park on that.
Yeah. Do you know, Tom, when Tim was first telling me this story about how I think Tim had said something to you like, what do you want to do with it once we've got it ready? And you had mentioned that you wanted to do a lap around Mac Park.
Yeah.
That was the moment when I had tears, because I just thought, wow, here's the most beautiful story of, rebuilding your race bike, and with all those memories and the feelings and stuff.
Back straight at the first lap. I didn't know where I was. Well, I did, but I couldn't believe that I was doing that. And then the next lap, I gave it a bit of throttle down the back straight for about probably 100 mile an hour, and then backed off in plenty of time. And by the time I got back to the pit lane, he was waiting and took it off me. I haven't seen it since.
What actually happened was he came in, and my brother Paul was there. We had a few blokes stationed around the place to point to exit the track, and just in case. And Paul was there to help me grab the bike if it was too heavy for him. But he just pulled up, turned it off, put the feet on the deck, and said, "Mission accomplished." And I said to him, "Do you want to do some more?" He said, "No, that'll do. That's fine." And he just went back to the pits and hung out with all the old boys that had come up to see him. And we brought him home at the end of the meeting, and he slept for a week.
I bet you did. So, Tom, how old were you when you did those final laps around Mac Park?
83.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yep.
So can you recall what it was like to put your leathers back on and actually get on the bike for the first time again after how many years?
There they are over there. Yeah.
How did that feel, putting them back on and getting ready to go?
After all that time, yeah.
Were you a bit excited?
Oh, yeah.
Not nervous?
No.
We were.
You were nervous. So the boys were nervous. Yeah.
Yeah. But the people at Mac Park were really good. As we set him off up the straight, I could hear from the pit office the message going around the track to the corner stewards saying that we've got an old bloke coming out, he hasn't ridden for a while, he's on the orange bike, just keep everyone away from him, and which they did, plenty of space. And as he said, you know, like he did one slow lap and one lap slightly faster, and it was really nice to see him cooking down that straight.
Yeah, that was
fantastic.
enough.
So did that bring back the, you know, the excitement and the thrill of racing that you had all those years earlier?
You never forget it. Probably the most thrilling part of racing is the starting line on a scramble track. When they drop the flag or turn a light on and look out. Every man for himself to the first corner. You've got to try and get side at the first corner first.
I know that Tim now races this bike. Have you watched Tim race?
Yeah, at Mac Park.
And how does that make you feel when you see him racing what was your bike?
Wonderful. I want to go and have a look again, of course.
Do you think that Tim rides as well as you used to ride it?
Oh shit, yeah. He's a better rider than I ever was. He's a lot smoother than I. Yeah.
How do you feel about it, Tim?
I enjoy it. It's a fun bike to ride, and I don't know if I actually do ride it as hard comparatively, because he was a younger man than I am when he was riding it, and he was a good rider. He actually either won or placed very highly in that time on a bike that shouldn't have been there. You know, it just shouldn't have been like that. But he was pedaling the thing, and he used to pedal hard. No, I like it. It's good fun.
Put it this way, I was never as smooth as he is. He's always very smooth, and especially if he's under pressure, he doesn't get ragged. I'd be all over the place. I could stay with good riders, but I'd be a bit ragged around the edges. I remember Gary O'Brien. You know Gary O'Brien?
I haven't met him.
Oh, he was a really good scramble rider. He used to come, we were rivals in scrambling, and I used to ride Montesses for his father. And he used to come to the road races and hang about somewhere on the track and give me signals as to where who was, what who was, and he was a funny man.
Bit like having the pit crew out on track.
Yeah.
With the pit boards.
He'd start off like this.
Big gap.
Next lap he'd go. The last lap he'd go. And if I had a look around here they'd be right on me back.
On your tail.
So I'd ride out of control for the last lap, try and keep me out.